The southern border now, where crossings of undocumented migrants continue to overwhelm Border Patrol agents, especially in places like Eagle Pass, Texas, which saw roughly 6,000 people cross the Rio Grande from Mexico over the course of just 2 days last month. One GOP presidential hopeful, Vivek Ramaswamy, is heading down today to highlight the ongoing issues at the border and offer a stern warning. NewsNation correspondent Ali Bradley live for us in Eagle Pass right now. And Ali, Ramaswamy says that if an attack like Hamas's can happen in Israel, he feels it could happen here as well.
Yeah, so Vivek Ramaswamy just touched down not long ago here in Eagle Pass, and he's long been criticized for his kind of lack of foreign policy. But what he says is that the U.S. spends a lot more time focusing on other countries and not enough on the security of our own border, which is one of the reasons why he's down here, highlighting what he says are vulnerabilities that can be exploited by terrorists. So that's something that he's talking about down here along the southern border. I want to show you some video here. While we were down here, Ramaswamy was actually talking with a 12-year-old girl from Honduras who had just been picked up by Border Patrol in an airboat with her father. Now, they said that the mother was left behind in Honduras to care for her mother, the little girl's grandmother, and the young girl was telling Vivek that she was here for a better life. The father was visibly sick and ill and needed to be tended to as well. And Vivek had some comments in reaction, specifically about the buoy barrier that Governor Abbott has been embattled with, and also the humanity of this all. Take a listen to what he had to say after meeting that young girl.
Say what you will about the system, that is not humane to anybody. It's not humane to the people who are illegally crossing. It's not humane to the people who are waiting, including your wife, as I understand it, on the other side waiting to come legally. That's unfair to her, and it's wrong what they're doing to the people who are crossing illegally this way, too. And us calling this somehow a humane system that we're handling people who are drowning as they swim over, it's not right for anybody.
Now, one of the things that we expect to hear Vivek really highlight is the 76,000 individuals that came in from special interest countries over the last fiscal year, as NewsNation was able to confirm from our CBP sources. Now, of course, Vivek also is a child of immigrants, and he is insistent that anybody who's coming over should do it the way his family did it, the legal way. And he says that he is actually for militarization of the border. So we're interested to see more of what he's going to learn out here. Right now, he is down here along the riverbanks where, of course, that concertina wire, there's 3 or 4 layers of it out here at this juncture that Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star has deployed down here. But you can see clothing and things discarded down here. Now, he's also meeting with Border Patrol and local law enforcement as well while he's down here. And one thing that we're looking at here is when we look at the polling averages, we're looking at these contenders, right? So Vivek is coming in 4th behind former President Trump, Governor Ron DeSantis, and of course, Ambassador Nikki Haley. But we're looking at just about every single one of the candidates have come down to the border in some capacity. However, only about half of them have made it down, Natasha, during their campaigns.
Very interesting, and it highlights what an important issue this is to American voters as well. Ali Bradley live for us in Eagle Pass, Texas. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.